Hi Scorpio, welcome or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. Just cleansing the space here. This is Sage. Oh, just in case it looks like a little something else. So we're talking about March, which is absolutely nuts. I'll probably say that every month going forward because I'm always so surprised at how fast it goes, but like not at the same time. So anyway, I hope that February has been and is treating you well. It was a pretty busy month for me. I actually launched an Etsy store, which I'm so proud of, and I would love if you checked it out. As always, there's no obligation to buy anything. If you feel connected to something and would like to purchase it, that would be great. But otherwise, if you could just fill the space with a ton of love so that other people will want to buy stuff. I appreciate it. I actually do have a couple of these decks available as well. This is the Tarot of the Abyss. So if you feel a connection to them and want to work with them yourself, they're available in there. So let's talk about you. We do a 4-card spread. So the first card is the current energy. To the left of that is any potential blocks. Underneath that is advice for clearing the block. And then the energy that you're heading into or what's coming up next. I don't shuffle reversals into the deck, but if the card falls in the reverse, we'll take it that way. Interesting story with that. You can hear my dog. We'll see if that, I don't know. He likes chewing on his bone and I don't know if you can hear it or not. Anyway, so yeah, interesting story with that. So when I get a new deck, I just like handle it a lot. Like I'll keep it next to me and just ask random questions and do random readings and all of that, right? Just kind of trying to like calibrate our energies to each other. And I shuffle all of my decks the same way. I'm just a little OCD like that. And the first few times that I would either pick up the deck or, you know, like just kind of shuffle through it, there were reversals all throughout. And I was like, am I losing my mind? Like I'm shuffling this deck differently or something. So anyway, after the third time that happened, I kind of like, I sat the cards down in front of me and was like, look, we need to have a meeting and kind of come together on this. And, you know, I just explained that I don't like connect to intentionally shuffling reversals into the deck. That's just a personal preference of mine. And that, you know, I take reversals if they fall out of the deck that way. And seriously, after that, there hasn't been a single reversal that has like shown up in the deck, which is so funny to me. So I'm happy to be able to share that with you guys, because if I were to share that with somebody who doesn't really like do anything with tarot, they would be like, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, you might be saying that too, but I accept that. So, the cards do actually need to fall out of the deck. If they flip in the deck, we'll just flip them over and keep it moving. My intention is for one card to come out at a time. If 2 cards come out together, we'll take 2, but any more than 2, we'll put it back in the deck because we just want the message to be super clear. And clearly there are messages ready to kind of come out. So let's get started. What is the current energy for Scorpio, March 2022? That's too many. Current energy for Scorpio, March 2022. Current energy for Scorpio, March. Oh, now you're shy? Is Scorpio shy? I don't think so. I haven't met a shy Scorpio, I should say. What is the current energy for Scorpio? We have the Ace of Swords and the Page of Wands. You know, that Page of Wands, I've seen that a couple times since shuffling for you guys. It came out, I think, once, and then it flipped once, and now here it is, officially out on the table. So we have the Page of Wands and the Ace of Swords. Ooh, and the Fool. Beautiful. Wow. So the Page of Wands, it's kind of a playful energy. This is like, you know, when you just kind of dive in and just kind of decide to get your hands dirty and just play around with stuff. The wands talk about communication, action. They're very creative. It's, you know, deciding kind of what you want to put your energy into. She kind of looks like she's collecting firewood to me. So, I mean, you could be kind of in the stages of building something new, like building something sustainable. And like I said, just kind of going for it, like at least just kind of like diving into it a little bit, you know, because she's already got some wands down here, just some firewood down here. She's got some more in her hands. So this is something that you've probably already been doing to a certain extent. And then we have the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is, you know, the sword of truth. We have all of this potential is the word that comes to mind, coming off of her, you know, like crown space. There's a house there that this kind of looks like children to me. There's this female figure here. This looks like a wishbone to me. But you know, it's based in truth, and it's more than likely based in your truth. Like, you know, what do you see for your future? This new kind of creative, passionate endeavor that you're embarking on. Very much rooted in your truth. And we have the Fool here, which, you know, the Fool is making that decision to go for it. It's making the decision to step off the cliff and not have a single concern in the world, because it's like, there is no other way, right? Like, you're not really concerned with either what you're stepping into or what's going to catch you. You just know that it's going to be there. Queen of Swords, holding that sword of truth, right? Just really like holding on to this vision of what is true for you. We have the Empress behind that. The Empress, I mean, you could be dealing with a Taurus. You know, but the Empress is kind of the divine feminine, and it's the energy of the divine feminine. So it's about being in the flow. She's generally depicted as being pregnant. There could be a pregnancy coming up in your life. This could be something that you've been trying for. like, you know, that could be the plan. So we have this house here, like, you know, you could be planning a family, and just kind of holding on to the vision of that. But, you know, you could just be envisioning, you know, because it talks about fertility as far as like birthing opportunities into existence and harvesting, you know, just kind of having an abundance of the things that you need in your life. Very nurturing, right? And then the 10 of Pentacles after that, which talks again about family, stability, foundation. It also kind of talks about, you know, like maybe inheritance, because we have kind of this older hand here, reaching up to this younger hand. You know, it could be talking about passing on knowledge even. Beautiful start. And the Two of Swords for the blocked position, like just being a bit indecisive. That's worry. Is it going to work out? You know, maybe not even being able to, maybe not even being able to kind of see the path. Or like I said, you know, this could be something that you have been working on for an extended period of time. And, and that's kind of caused a little bit of indecision, or just a little bit of, not indecision. Well, yes, indecision, but there's another word that is like right on the tip of my tongue. It'll come to me. It feels a bit like frustration, you know, and it's interesting because we have now this kind of progression from the Ace of Swords to the Two of Swords, right? So here it is, the Ace of Swords is the sword of truth, right? It is the actual truth of the situation, not the stories that we attach to our reality based on our own wounding and our own experiences and failures and success and all the coping mechanisms that we've kind of learned along the way, right? And most of those coping mechanisms forming when we were children, which is all the more reason why to revisit them, right? Because most of us are adults now. We have more experience. There's more life. You know, we've experienced more life. We've experienced more people and situations. So it's all the more reason to go back and review our coping mechanisms. So when we go from the Ace to the Two, then it kind of becomes like, who am I with this truth? Like, what does this truth change for me? And how does that even change the trajectory of the situation? And then we have the Six of Wands at the bottom of the deck. And generally, the Six of Wands talks about success, harmony, recognition. So, you know, with this being at the bottom of the deck, we're talking about the blocked position. You know, this could you could just be feeling like, you know, either the situation hasn't been working out the way that you think it has, or you think that it should, or it's delayed. Also, we have the Hermit below that. Like your internal space is feeling a bit out of control. I don't know if you can hear my if you can hear my dog barking out there. Let me grab him. Hold on. Okay. Sorry about that. I just like I cannot, it's such a pet peeve of mine. Like I cannot just let my dog be outside barking. So interesting that we have the Ten of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Like that's where it stopped. Again, you know, like that talks about family or community. And of course, family can be anything from biological to, you know, your spouse, to friendships, you know, platonic relationships. It could be work. What is the advice for Scorpio? What is the advice for Scorpio? Advice for Scorpio. This is also too, you know, because we're talking about masks here, right? And the figure doesn't have their own face. So, you know, this could also be you discovering your own unique identity. Like, you know, you could be working on kind of setting fire to the you that, you know, is just kind of buried underneath all of these masks and things that, you know, we all get buried under, just life and society and, you know, everybody's opinions and, you know, your guardians or your parents or, you know, if you were in sports and had, you know, expectations that, right, like it can be anything like that. So, you know, you could be going through just a major kind of inner healing and really kind of discovering like who you are. And maybe that's kind of why we have the Two of Swords in the blocking position, because it's like wanting to make a decision from your higher self. What is in your highest good? What is actually in alignment with you and what you envision for your life going forward? Like I said, you know, kind of building this sustainable something. Or even making something that will sustain you based on, you know, your truth. Like your actual truth. And then just kind of deciding on how that fits with you. And, you know, that does take a little bit of time. You know, especially if you know, you're making decisions just differently than you did as a child. This is, to me, like the Six of Cups talks about inner child work. So again, you know, I mean, you could have been or are doing a lot of inner child work. The Six of Cups talks about nostalgia and almost kind of like wishing for things of the past, like just kind of remembering past relationships, or just almost how you felt at a particular time when you were younger. And younger can be 2 weeks ago, it can be 5 years ago, it can be 20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? Whatever the case may be. It's also, you know, kind of recognizing where you were and where you are now, and, you know, finding some gratitude for the in between, like, you know, finding gratitude for being where you are right now. It's also interesting that, you know, this is in the headspace, right? You know, and we have this figure and all of this business coming out of their headspace. This is also being, you know, in your own energy. We have the Nine of Pentacles underneath that, or at the bottom of the deck. The Nine of Pentacles talks about, you know, like independence. Like individually, like individual success. Pentacles talk about our money, our income, resources, materials. It talks about our physical body also. So it's having an abundance, like, you know, you have exactly what you need, like your needs are met. This could even be an invitation to think back to when you were younger and when in your life, you know, kind of going back to revisiting the times in your life where you felt freer or just content in your life and in your body. Like, what was going on at the time? What were you doing? What were your relationships like? Right? Like, why was it that way? Were you involved in doing something that you had a passion about and just kind of lit your fire, right? Whatever that is, whether it was a hobby or volunteering or if it was a job, you know, like whatever the case may be, right? You know, it's just revisiting those things. And if it is inner child work, you know, it's kind of revisiting. And all of this, you know, like this does take time. It's not necessarily something that just kind of happens overnight, right? You know, I mean, there's a lot of, you know, kind of different elements that happen. And I also think it's interesting that we have all of the elements on, I mean, you know, the pentacles are at the bottom of the deck, but we have all of the elements kind of showing right now. So, you know, it is like all of the elements kind of, you know, coming together and, you know, working through, you know, why do I feel the way that I do? Or why do I have this coping mechanism? And just kind of following the trail back to where you came up with that coping mechanism and why did you do that? And then being the adult and saying, wow, I can understand why I would do that when I was 10 or 5 or 15. But with the information that I know now, I can, you know, like give myself a big hug, proverbially, right? I mean, you know, give your inner child a big hug and thank them for the coping mechanism, right? Because it got you where you are now. But then also fill it with more information. Like, I understand being an adult now. I can understand why I would feel that way. But knowing what I know now, I can reframe this situation. And like I said, you know, it's not easy. It's not something that you just kind of do once and it's done. You know, like it's something that needs like constant compassion, you know, like, I mean, you don't develop a habit overnight, right? I mean, you know, we develop our habits and personalities by being in a certain energy and making certain decisions for an extended period of time. So again, you know, the advice here is to, you know, kind of take a look back on your life and find some gratitude for, you know, being where you are now. It could also be an invitation to do some inner child work. I always say, you know, I mean, inner child work is, you know, it's deep stuff, right? Of course. And if you have access to being able to work with like a therapist or coach or somebody that has the ability to, you know, just kind of help you through those times and help you develop, you know, kind of new coping mechanisms or coping skills. That's always like my little disclaimer when I talk about inner child, inner child stuff, because I know from experience, it's so necessary. I'm not going to take that because that was kind of operator error. But we are going to move on to what's next for Scorpio? What's coming up next? Excuse me. What's next for Scorpio? What's next for Scorpio? Yeah. We have the Nine of Cups and Justice, and then the Hermit at the bottom of the deck. Do we have some room here? Let me just see if I can move some stuff out of the way here. Here we go. That works. This Four of Wands kind of keeps coming out. Yeah. Beautiful. So the Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. This is you feeling like your needs are being met. You are filling your cups. Like, you know, you're tending to your cups also. Most of these cups have, you know, they're mostly plants. So, feeling like, you know, you have enough energy to even take care of your plants, right? Like, stopping to smell the roses. Like, you know, you have an abundance of what you need so that you can share either with other people or, you know, just kind of taking care of yourself. The Nine of Cups, the nines in general, the nines in general are individual. It's ourselves, right? Like it is the completion. Like we have reached a place where internally we feel content. We're taking care of ourselves. We're pouring into our own cups, right? Like telling ourselves nice things. And then we have the Justice card, which is Libra. So, I mean, there could be a Libra around. It doesn't have to be, but the scales are balancing. There's fairness, right? There's balance in your life again. This could be, of course, you know, just with it being the Justice card, it could have to do with something related to court or a legal matter. And, you know, it would work out in your benefit because, you know, it's paired with the Nine of Cups. So you would be satisfied with the outcome. The Hermit talks about introspection, going within, again, deep healing. I love, you know, just kind of how crazy her hair is. And then she's holding this snake here and it's just kind of taming that. This also, you know, there could be a Kundalini situation happening for you. And that does take deep introspection and meditation. And, you know, like there's certain yogas for Kundalini and, you know, all of that. So if that's something that you've thought about or think about exploring. We have the Four of Wands behind that, which talks about stability, union, and harmony. You know, the Four of Wands talks about a firm foundation. It's usually like the card of marriage too, because again, you know, like it's things happening in union. There's I keep losing words. Unison? Is that the word? That doesn't sound right. Excuse me for not having the words. But again, you know, this is stability. There is a celebration going on here too. So feeling good about kind of the path that you're heading in. Feeling good about your decisions, right? Like communicating well. They also talk about discipline. The fours talk about discipline. So you could be reaching this stability because of being disciplined. And then we have the High Priestess underneath that. And the High Priestess is intuition. I always see that the High Priestess as being our higher selves. And, you know, kind of this idea of coming into yourself more. Again, like I was even kind of saying back here about finding or discovering or even just kind of embodying and stepping into your own power and your image. Unique to you. Right? Kind of stepping through this doorway here. And then we have the yin and yang. So again, talking about balance, right? We have the Three of Cups, which talks about celebration, community. This is kind of finding your soul family. This is, you know, like other people around you share the same values and desires to reach whatever level of success you want to reach, right? But also, you know, just kind of almost celebrating you. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles again, which we just kind of talked about. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So, you know, whatever this thing is that you're building or putting your energy into based on this, you know, truth that you either discovered about yourself or the situation, you know, it's bringing you out of this feeling of not being clear about either the decision to make, being clear about like yourself, what you want to do, thinking back, being a bit nostalgic, just digging back into your experiences, like I was saying before, right? Like now where you are now, and just, you know, the knowledge and the wisdom and the experience that you have now, and how can that help you move on from this, you know, like move either on from the situation or continue moving forward in the situation. And then there's success here. You feel good about your decision and the direction that you're heading in. And it causes balance to happen in your life. Beautiful. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. And I'm so glad to be on the journey with you. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.